This is our shared space to explore the paths that lead to a more purposeful life. A life lived with intention. I've often thought about how we perceive the world around us. It seems there are truly two fundamental ways people see their reality. It is undeniable that this distinction is a fascinating one. Some individuals so clearly see the thing they want. They have a wonderfully sharp focus on the goal ahead. On the other hand, others are almost entirely consumed by what prevents them. They see only the obstacle standing in their way. This simple distinction in perspective is absolutely key. Honestly, it changes everything about the journey. So I gently ask you to consider, how do you perceive your world? Welcome back to Light Your Life. I'm your host, Clara Sterling. This is the podcast dedicated to helping you find your own inner purpose. And, most importantly, to live it fully and with grace. Today, we're diving into a powerful framework for living. Perhaps you could even call it a design for a more conscious life. It is a set of 5 simple yet truly profound guidelines. They can dramatically shift how you experience the world around you. In addition, they can help you achieve what your heart truly desires. So let's begin with the very first one. Go after the things that you want. Let's begin with a foundational idea. First, let me illustrate this with a classic story you may have heard. Imagine 2 lumberjacks working together in a dense, beautiful forest. Every morning, they start chopping wood at the exact same time. And every single evening, they stop at the very same time. However, one of them consistently chops significantly more wood. The difference in their output is truly noticeable day after day. So what was the secret to this greater success? Well, for about an hour each day, the better lumberjack seems to disappear. When he was finally asked about this curious habit, he simply smiled and said, "Oh, I go home for a while to sharpen my axe." This simple story so beautifully embodies what we now call an infinite mindset. It represents a meaningful shift from short-term gains to a long-term vision. It seems the goal is not just about how much you can get done in a single day. It's about what you can accomplish over the course of a career or even a lifetime. It's about taking that essential time to sharpen your axe, which means, yes, taking your much-needed vacations. It means turning off your work email when the day is done. And it means truly disconnecting from the pressures of the office. We all know that you must recharge and refresh your spirit. So clearly, you can be more effective and powerful when you return to your work. Now, let's also talk about seeing what you want. This is an equally important piece of the puzzle. A dear friend and I were once on a run in a beautiful city park. After the race, a sponsor was giving away free, fresh bagels. We saw a very long line of tired but happy runners. At the same time, we also saw a table piled high with boxes of delicious bagels. I suggested with genuine excitement, "Let's get a bagel." He looked at the long line and sighed with a feeling of resignation. "Ah, Clara, the line is just too long." I insisted, feeling the pull of the simple reward, "But it's a free bagel." He reiterated, his focus unchanged. "I just don't want to wait in that line." And again, with my eyes on the prize, I simply said, "Free bagel." That's when it hit me. The 2 ways to see the world were playing out right in front of me. I could only see the bagels. That was my clear focus. He, on the contrary, could only see the line. That was his insurmountable obstacle. So, what did I do in that moment? I walked up to the line, feeling a quiet sense of confidence. I leaned in gently between two people. I reached into an open box on the table, and I pulled out 2 delicious-looking bagels. And you know what? Nobody got mad at me. Why do you think that is? It seems the unwritten rule of life is this one. You can go after whatever it is that you want. You just cannot deny anyone else their ability to do the same thing. The point is, you don't always have to wait in the line. You don't have to do it the way that everybody else has always done it. After all, you can break the old rules and find your own path to success, as long as you're not getting in the way of someone else's journey. Take care of each other. The United States Navy SEALs are known as elite warriors, right? They are often considered the very best of the best. A SEAL was once asked a very insightful question about this. Who is it that actually makes it through the brutal selection process? His answer was truly profound. It wasn't at all what anyone expected to hear. He said, "I can't tell you the kind of person who does become a SEAL. However, I can tell you with absolute certainty the kind of people who don't." He then elaborated on this surprising point. The guys who show up with huge bulging muscles, none of them make it through. The preening leaders who delegate all of their responsibility, none of them make it. The star college athletes who've never been truly tested, none of them ever make it. So who does make it? Who are these truly elite performers? He said, some of the guys who make it through are skinny and scrawny. You'll even see some of them shivering out of what looks like fear. However, he observed one common and powerful thread among them all. All the guys who make it through when they are physically and emotionally spent. When they feel they have absolutely nothing left inside them to give. Somehow, some way, they find the energy to help the guy next to them. Therefore, they become SEALs because they excel at helping other people. If you aspire to be an elite performer in any field you choose, it's not about how tough you are, or even how smart you are. It is undeniable that it's about getting exceptionally good at helping the person to your left. And, in addition, helping the person to your right. The world is far too dangerous and much too difficult. You simply cannot believe you can do these great things all alone. If you find your own spark, that's a commendable thing. It is a wonderful and beautiful achievement. Then, who are you going to ask for help when you inevitably need it? And when are you going to accept that help when it is offered to you? Learning to ask for help will be the single most valuable thing you ever learn. The great thing is, when you learn to ask for help, you'll discover an entire world of people who have always wanted to help you. They simply didn't think you needed it before. Perhaps you kept pretending you had everything perfectly under control. The minute you admit, I don't really know what I'm doing, or I'm stuck and I'm scared and I don't think I can do this, you'll find that the people who love you will rush in to take care of you. That will only happen if you learn to take care of them first. Be the last to speak. Nelson Mandela is a very special case study in leadership. It is undeniable that he is universally regarded as a great leader. Unlike so many other figures, his greatness transcends borders and opinions. He was, as you may know, the son of a tribal chief. When asked how he learned to lead so well, he recalled his father's meetings. He remembered 2 very distinct things from his childhood. The elders of the tribe always sat together in a circle, and his father, the chief, was always the very last person to speak. You'll be told your whole life that you need to learn how to listen. I would argue that you need to learn how to be the last to speak. I see this happen in boardrooms and meetings every single day. Even good leaders, those with very good intentions, will walk into a room and say, "Here's the problem. Here's what I think. But I'm interested in hearing your opinion." Unfortunately, it's already too late by then. The stage has already been set for them. The skill to hold your own opinions to yourself until the end does two powerful things. First, it gives everyone else the profound feeling that they have been heard. It truly validates their valuable contribution to the discussion. And second, you get the immense benefit of hearing what everybody else thinks. Only then, with all that information, can you render your well-informed opinion. The true skill is to sit and quietly hold your opinions. If you agree with someone, don't nod your head. If you disagree, don't shake your head. Simply sit there with a calm, neutral expression. Take it all in. The only thing you're really allowed to do is to ask clarifying questions so that you can truly understand what they mean by what they are saying. And more importantly, why they hold that particular opinion. You must understand the perspective from which they are speaking. It is not just about the words that they are saying to you. And at the very, very end, you will get your turn to speak. It sounds quite easy, but honestly, it's not. Practice being the last to speak, just as Nelson Mandela did so wisely. Sometimes you're the problem. In the 18th century, a truly terrifying thing happened in our world. A phenomenon known as pearl fever tragically spread across Europe. Women were dying within 48 hours of giving birth. Sadly, it was a terrible plague on the entire continent. In some hospitals, the mortality rate was as high as 70%. This was supposed to be the age of science and of data. Doctors, these esteemed men of science, diligently studied the corpses. They would conduct their autopsies in the morning. Then, chillingly, they went straight to deliver babies in the afternoon. All of this was done without washing their hands between procedures. It wasn't until the mid-1800s that Dr. Oliver Wendell Holmes realized the obvious. The doctors themselves were the source of the deadly disease. He pointed it out to his colleagues, saying, "Guys, you are the problem." Unfortunately, they ignored him, and they called him crazy for 30 long years. Until finally, someone realized that simply washing their hands would make it disappear. And it did. When they started sterilizing their instruments, the Black Death of childbed vanished. The lesson for us here is profound, yet so very simple. Sometimes you are the problem. My point is, you must take accountability for your actions. You can take all the credit in the world for the things that you do right, as long as you also take full responsibility for the things that you do wrong. It really must be a balanced equation. You don't get one of those without the other. Let me share a true story with you to illustrate this. I once stayed at the Four Seasons Hotel in Las Vegas. It's a truly wonderful hotel, but not because of the fancy beds. It's because of the people who work there. You feel that they genuinely care about your experience. In their main lobby, they have a little coffee stand. One afternoon, I went there to buy a cup of coffee. The barista, whose name was Noah, was fantastic. He was so friendly, fun, and incredibly engaging. Naturally, I asked Noah a simple question. "Do you like your job?" Without skipping a single beat, he said, "I absolutely love my job." I pressed him further because I was so curious. What is it that the Four Seasons is doing that makes you say that? Noah's magical response to me was this. Throughout the day, managers will walk past me and just ask how I'm doing. They ask if there's anything I might need to do my job better. Not just my manager, really, any manager at all. Then he compared it to another work experience he had. I also work at Caesar's Palace Hotel. At Caesar's, the managers are always trying to catch us doing things wrong. When I go to work there, I like to keep my head under the radar and just get my paycheck. Here at the Four Seasons, on the other hand, I feel I can truly be myself. We in leadership positions are so quick to criticize our people. However, the reality is, it's not the people, it's often the leadership. If we create the right environment, we get people like Noah at the Four Seasons. If we create the wrong environment, we get people like Noah at Caesar's Palace. You always deserve a styrofoam cup. My favorite rule of all comes from a deeply moving true story. A former Undersecretary of Defense was invited to give a speech. He was at a large conference with about 1,000 attendees. He was standing on the stage with his styrofoam cup of coffee, and he took a sip. He smiled warmly at the large audience. Then he went off script from his prepared speech. He said, last year, I spoke at this exact same conference. Last year, I was still the Undersecretary of Defense. They flew me here in business class, which was a true luxury. When I arrived at the airport, someone was waiting there to take me to my hotel. The next morning, I came downstairs, and someone drove me to this very venue. They greeted me and handed me a cup of coffee in a beautiful ceramic cup. He paused for effect, letting the words sink in, then he continued, "I am no longer the Undersecretary. I flew here today in coach. I took a taxi to my hotel, and I checked myself in. When I came down this morning, I took another taxi to get to this venue. I found my way backstage all by myself. And when I asked someone, 'Do you happen to have any coffee?' He pointed to the coffee machine, and I poured coffee into this here styrofoam cup. His powerful lesson for all of us was this: the ceramic cup was never meant for me. It was meant for the position that I held. I, as a person, deserve a styrofoam cup. Remember this powerful lesson always. As you gain fame or fortune or a higher position, people will treat you better. They will hold doors open for you. They will get you coffee without you even having to ask for it. The unexpected thing was, none of that stuff is meant for you, the individual. That stuff is meant for the position that you hold. However, you as a human being will always deserve a styrofoam cup. It is undeniable that this is a powerful lesson in humility and gratitude. You can accept all the free stuff and all the perks that come your way. Absolutely, you should enjoy them. Just be deeply grateful for them when they appear. And always know that they're not fundamentally for you. The call for empathy and better leadership. We're asking our youngest generation to work hard and to succeed. We ask them to find themselves and to build their confidence. And we ask them to overcome the challenges of technology addiction. And these are the environments we as leaders have created for them. We keep telling them, you are the future leaders. However, we are the leaders right now. We are the ones who are in control of the present. So what are we doing about it? This is what empathy truly means in practice. It means if there's an entire generation that seems to be struggling, maybe it's not them. I had to learn to see the common thread in my own past challenges. Often, that common thread was me. It's the very same logic applied on a larger scale. If we can't get the right performance out of our people, maybe it's us. It's not a difficult generation. They are human beings, just like the rest of us. They are trying to find their own way in this complex world. They are trying to work where they feel someone cares about them as a human being. By the way, that's what we all want. It's not a generational issue. It's a universal human need for connection. This is the daily practice of empathy. If we're struggling to communicate with someone, or to help someone be at their natural best, we have to look inward first before we look outward. Honestly, I'm tired of people asking, how do I get the best out of my people? As if they are a towel you can just wring out to get what you want. Number. That question is fundamentally wrong. The question we should be asking is this one: how do I help my people be at their natural best? We are not asking these kinds of questions nearly enough. We are not practicing empathy as a core skill. We have to start there. By practicing empathy and truly relating to what others may be going through, it is undeniable that this will profoundly change the decisions we make. And ultimately, it will change how we all see the world.